Benue State Governor Hyacinth Alia has admitted that enforcing the state's anti-open grazing law is difficult due to its local scope. Speaking through his chief press secretary, Alia noted that armed herders, often protected by militias wielding AK-47s, have overwhelmed local enforcement agencies which are not allowed to carry high-grade weapons. He stated that unless the law is adopted nationally, its impact will remain limited. The governor was responding to criticism from the Benue Advocacy Network, which raised concerns over insecurity, rising IDP numbers, lack of transparency, and unfulfilled campaign promises. Alia defended his administration, saying it had cleared most salary arrears and urged the public to access financial records at the budget office. Ndamzi, what do you make of this position by Benue State government that anti-open grazing law faces implementation challenges unless and until it is implemented nationally? What do you have to say to that?
Yes, thank you very much, Laurentia, once more. The anti-open grazing law in Benue State will continue to face challenges to implement. Not just only in Benue, all other states wouldn't be able to implement such laws in their various domains. The reason is simple. The governor have posited that unless the law becomes a national law, but even if the National Assembly today enacts an anti-open grazing law in Nigeria, it will still not be effective. It will not be effective in the sense that there are big wigs in the security agencies that own these cows. We have said this before, that I have had a first-hand experience where, there was conflict between herdsmen and local farmers. They called the military. Before you know it, the military overran the place. So that is to tell you that something truly is fishy. How can armed herdsmen wielding guns that even the police rarely hold? That is to tell you that the business of cow rearing is becoming more important than securing human lives and properties. So Nigerian government need to wake up. Nigerian government need to be sincere with its citizens. They need to, this thing have become a very serious concern. Year in, year out, administration come, administration go. We thought that during the time of President Muhammadu Buhari, this armed conflict with herders and farmers would have been put to rest. But it lingered, and now we are in this present administration. Though this present administration is coming up with efforts to tame the armed clashes, but we don't see results yet. So, in my own opinion, for these farmers herders clashes to be tamed, we need a state police. That is the only way it can. Because even with National Assembly enacting any law, it will still be laws on paper. What happens with implementation? Who will implement the laws?
Is it
the same big wigs?
Implementation, or the law is there?
In various states.
In Benue State, for example, the law is there. And the governor is saying that the anti-open grazing law, it's difficult to implement. And he's now pushing it to the national. It has to be done nationally before he can. Is it that the law is unimplementable, or is it the will to implement it?
It is the political will to implement.
Who has the
this law?
Who is supposed to execute? Who is supposed to have the political will to execute it? Is it not the executive?
The executive. But don't rule out the fact that the governors are just chief security officers of their various states. By what?
Oh, there is a chain of command.
Yes, of course, there is a chain of command. All the security agencies in Nigeria are commanded by the president. The governors do not have control over the police force. The governors cannot command the CO of the various military camps in their states. They cannot command the DSS. They can but only liaise, only give information. And you see, something really is missing. With the huge security votes these governors collect, they are still incapacitated in implementing security matters because the IG is not answerable to them. The commissioners of police is not answerable to the governors. When the governors give directive, there will be counter directive from the center. That is the problem. Nigeria needs state police. So for us to achieve this, good thing, the National Assembly have an ongoing constitutional review now. It is a time for Nigerians to flood the various venues of this constitutional review. Tell them what we want. Because if we don't go there and tell them what we want, don't forget these people are there for themselves. They are not, as far as I'm concerned, I owe nobody no apology about this. They are not there for Nigerians. So we must go there and ask them to impute what we need in our constitution. That is the only way they will do it. These guys want to be governor. Some of them want to be governor. Some want to be re-elected in their seats. Some want to either resign and do one thing or the other. They don't care.
Now let me take you back to Rivers State. Some time ago, you recall Peter Odili's administration and the insecurity that was rife in that administration. You recall what the state was like when Rotimi became governor. Do you remember how C4I was formed in Rivers State?
Yes, of course, I do.
You remember that these people had to be trained specially in Israel?
Yes, of course, I do.
And the state sponsored that training of over 6,000 police officers. And these police officers became a specialized squad after their specialized training in Israel. And that formed C4I. I hope you remember.
No doubt.
Now, that was done by a state and a state governor who prioritized security at that point in time. If nothing goes to the credit of Rotimi Chibikamichi, security in Rivers State, it's one credit that nobody will take away from him. Right? Now, and the security in Rivers State, the insecurity in Rivers State at that time is nothing. It cannot be compared to what is being experienced in Benue State. And here the governor is, yes, one would say Rotimi Amechi worked with the Nigerian police. But in Benue State, we have the existence of local vigilantes. Now, Benue State, because of the level of insecurity there, is receiving a very high security vote that runs into billions of naira. That cannot be swept under the carpet. And the governor is telling me that he cannot invest that money in human capacity development in terms of security for his local vigilantes. What stops him from taking them abroad like Amechi did that time, for specialized training and combat, terrorism combat? What stops him from doing that? Let it be that he has trained those people. At that time, Amechi trained 2 batches of 3,000 police officers, if I remember correctly. I hope I'm not mistaken with my figures. But then the security vote in Rivers State at that time was far much more lower. Now, imagine now with what Benue State is receiving as security votes, and the governor intentionally decides to invest this into building the capacity of the youths within these communities, the local vigilantes. Imagine he decides to train up to like 10,000 of these people in terrorism combat and then come back. Then we know that having weapons is another battle. But let it be that he made that step. Now they are much more equipped, intelligentsia and all of that, to source information, to get information, even physical combat with minimal weapon. The question is, it that our governors or the leaders of this country, is it that they are clueless They don't know what to do, or they don't have the will. That's why I keep asking, because where there is a will, there is a way. There will always be a way where there is a will. So one would say Governor Alia coming out to say that a law that has been made in his state is facing challenges, implementational challenges, because it is not yet national. I would be asking, what is he doing with the security votes that has been accrued to the state month after month? What does he do with it? And why is it up until now, why he's decrying local vigilantes not having enough weapons? What has he done so far in order to ensure that at least within his state there is something that he has done that is tangible?
Laurentia, thank you very much for that wonderful question. Yes, we applaud the fact that former governor of Rivers State, did train some police officers named C4I in Israel, and they combated insecurity to a standstill in Rivers State. We are not saying otherwise. Now, see, Laurentia, I have to say this without fear or favor, that what is happening in Benue State is more of extremism. It is more of extremism. No, see, these people are hell-bent on maiming, killing, taking the lands that belong to Benue people forcefully. They have said that on different forums.
Isn't that why the governor should be more dogged in his approach?
Laurentia, I am saying it repeatedly again, that the governors are incapacitated with security. Even though he goes ahead to train, equipped, when the power to command, it's not with him, he can achieve little. See, the security high command in this country is not telling Nigerians the truth.
The illustration I gave you, yes, when Amici was governor, he did work with local security, with the state security, the state police.
Don't forget that the local securities cannot wield AK-47 and AK-49. They can only wield weapons that are licensed, like minor weapons like pump action or locally made guns. How do you think a man holding a locally fabricated weapon can stand somebody with automatic rifle? I mean, it's not possible.
The question I'm asking, first of all, you know that when it comes to security and insecurity, it starts with intelligentsia. The question I'm asking is, even though the local vigilantes may not have access to these sophisticated weapons, how sophisticated are they in physical combat? How sophisticated are they in military precision and strategy? How sophisticated are they? Are you aware that they can even lay ambush for these people if they properly train themselves and arm themselves?
Of course.
They can get intelligence ahead of time. They can infiltrate their camps. A lot of things can be done. Infiltrate their camps. And are you aware ambush can be laid? You can have sophisticated weapons, but when you don't even have the technical know-how on how to use it, it's a problem. You can also have minimal weapons, but when you have intelligentsia, and when you are trained in certain combats, you can actually unarm someone with sophisticated weapon with the skill that you have. Now, what I am looking at is, yes, the state governors are incapacitated because the chain of command does not respond to them, but the CNC. But what I am looking at is, how do we work with what we have right now? How do we make lead way into what we have? Leadership trumps excuses. When people voted them, they did not understand this chain of command. The question is, how are the state governors going to fight insecurity within their states with what they have at hand?
They can only do that by liaising, cooperating with the CPs of the various states, the commanding officers of the various camps, who of course will receive further directives from Abuja. See, Laurentia, if we are solving this problem in Nigeria, we solve it once and for all.
Okay.
I mean, this matter have lingered more than 3 decades. Herdsmen, herders clashes. And see, these herders have transcended more than being animal rearers.
I hope you know that they have infiltrated River State.
Of course, that's what I'm saying.
They are in Eche right now. I hope
they are in Eche, they are in Alu, they are in Rumekni, they are in Ishokbo, they are in Omagwa. They are everywhere. See, Laurentia, security agencies need to wake up. Nigeria is heading to a problem. If we don't wake up and solve this problem once and for all, the security chiefs own some of these cows. Like I said before, I've had first-hand experience. I saw with my 2 eyes where a clash happened and these men called the military. On their behalf, they responded immediately and protected the herdsmen, not minding what has transpired, not minding if the herders were wielding highly sophisticated weapons. And believe me, the police...
But the herders armed.
Yes, of course.
So when the military came...
They did not disarm them.
Did they see them with the arms?
No, I wouldn't know whether they saw. You don't expect me to be closer there when these people are so... they are so violent. They could open... I mean, the herders could just open ammunition on anybody. We have to stay far. But the point I'm trying to make is they are in contact with security agencies because most of the chiefs in the security owns this cow. That's the truth. We heard sometime when Governor Alia said it that when they even call the security agents, that they take time to arrive to the scene of crime. Before they arrive, the herders may have maimed people, burnt houses, killed whomever they want to kill. Then, see, something is fishy. Something is fishy. These terrorists have infiltrated our security. That is the truth.
Right.
They know what we are saying. Nigerians can bear me witness. They have infiltrated. I've not really heard a country where terrorists are given amnesty and integrated into security. I mean, that is crazy. It's a very big problem. So, in solving this thing, we need to solve it once and for all. And one of the solutions is this: state policing.
All right.
State policing will enable the implementation of the state laws without taking recourse to Abuja. But if you make these laws believing that the Nigerian police, who is busy collecting money from Yahoo boys on the road, forcing youths to open their phones, will implement anti-open grazing law, it's a big lie. They will not.